Sustainable projects.
It's a brand new year, providing new opportunities in service to our Cayman Islands. We, Rotary Central, a premier voluntary NPO, join hands with you to fix things, make things better, improve on our way of life, give that helping hand, that shoulder to lean on, that push up the hill, clear that guiding path. This is Rotary Central, part of the circle that gets things done. Rotary, all the good you imagine.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. I'm reminded that it is Wednesday, and Wednesdays are wonderful. Open line for the first hour or so, 949-8037, 949-6990. And of course, the toll-free line is there for us to call and share. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow,
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks for sharing with us. 949-8037, 949-6990. Of course, toll free 1-800-534-8255. WhatsApp if you want. Record a voice note or just send it through. We want to hear from you. We want you to know that we're here for you. So WhatsApp 3271, 3261, What's the WhatsApp number, Mr. Carl? Tell us. Get us hear another voice. What's your WhatsApp number? Say it again for me. 925.
Oh, you want me to say it over the air?
I want you to say it over the air.
It's 925-3261.
What's the part of that? Operators are standing by now. I mean, maybe many of us have watched too much late night television. I say that. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us. It's not just about a little bit of laughter and lightheartedness. We'll get that on Friday as we bring you the COS Saying show. Rebecca is usually diligent at work, and it reminds us of how marvelous and magnificent our history is. The reach that we may have heard from our parents, grandparents, and their forefathers. But the notion that as we engage and invite others, perhaps we'll be more apt to be inclined to listen, and so therefore become informed when we hear another voice, another perspective. So that is an open invitation to all and sundry alike to share with us. It doesn't mean that the thing you're thinking is the only one that's thinking it, but if it is, then that's an original thought, and it may spark others to consider. Let's take, for instance, I say this, I think, without fear of contradiction. I certainly want to say it with absolute love and respect. Remember when we were looking long ago, we had constitutional commissioners, and there was a discussion about how we should be looking at our constitution. There was a time not long before that when any mention by anybody, especially if they were either in the political arena previously or considered or perceived to be considering, the thought was, oh, you're talking about independence. Thankfully now that discussion is that it's mature and responsible. Is actually absolutely essential that we talk about a constitution. The notion that it should be reviewed constantly, it should be a living, breathing document, was the phrase that we heard. Now, the pause. Remember that discussion? There were, we told, only a small number of people who were saying, well, if we're going to change the way we elect people, should we be considering what other options exist? What should we be doing? Some talked about a bicameral system where you have an upper house and a lower house. Well, do you want an upper class and a lower class consciously? And do you want an elected house like how some other jurisdictions have? They call it a Senate or the like. It may be good, it may not be. But are we having discussions to sort of consider what options exist and what would be the best model for us? Maybe it's something very unique. Maybe we will be able to take page from different jurisdictions and create our own. Or maybe we will just carbon copy. But are we having the discussions? And is that Senate an appointed house? If so, does that add and enhance the democracy? Or should it be an elected house? And what role should it play? What powers, if any? That aside, there were some who said, well, should we have a national vote? Well, what does that mean? Do we vote as a voter for all who are elected? Or is it only for the political leader? We now assign a term to that premier. Some thought chief minister might have been a better term. There are others who, because of their training and knowledge and experience with respect to political systems, would say, well, no, you should have a different term, or president, or what have you. But nonetheless, that is the term. The prior was the leader of government business. That some of us may understand the origin of that. Is now constitutionally recognized as the premier, or as one of our friends says, the premier. And at the end of the day, do we as voters only vote for that person, or for the cabinet, or for all of them? We're gathering that increasingly that discussion about our voting system is one that's being considered. Now, we just had the Constitutional Commissioner's reappointment there, and again, I think honorable people with not only great, insight, intellect, and expertise and experience, but a genuine interest. But it is for us as the wider community, and with the greatest of respect as the voters, to get involved and to consider. Now, you might share that the voters in East End and Northside, for whom we only return one member of parliament relative to the voters in the other sort of districts, not the electoral districts, but the other districts of West Bay and Georgetown and Bordentown and Camelback and the like. We return two or more. Now, you might say, well, if the voter in East End or the voter in Northside can only select one, then it's only fair that we have the country carved into little electoral boundaries where we have one representative. The argument being that would be, the equitable way to go about it, much fairer, and it would mean that the person elected can be held more accountable for what that person does or doesn't do, because that person can't hide. If it was 4 in West Bay or 6 in Georgetown, the person can say, well, you got 3 others, or you got 5 others. Now it's just that one person. But does that also lead to greater division? And does it lead to, as much as we're looking at the parity, is it really equitable? So, for instance, the voter, again, just as a simple number, in Northside East End, there was 1 of 500 voters versus the voter in, say, one of the other electoral districts. Again, just as an example, was 1 of 1,000. On a weighted average, is that voter who is one of 500, is that worth twice as much as the one who is one of 1,000? But then, is the benefit that would accrue to the entire country any better, in that the individual who may come from, in that instance, one of the districts where there are smaller registered number of voters, is then elected and then appointed to cabinet, whether to premier or otherwise, that decision and help to formulate the policy and drive in the political agenda, that person will affect the entire country. Is that fair? And would it be better, as some have contended, that we as a country vote for all of them, or again for the cabinet? And I wanted to share that because in one of the many discussions I've had early in this day, I mean, it's just after midday, and for some of us, we're getting ready to go on shift. For some of us, we're getting ready to come off because we've been in there for a while. For a few of us now, you know, it's been 6+ hours that we've already been out of the desk, as it were. Now, it only means that there's a lot of work to be done, and we need more hands working in unison. So let's invite you to share your thoughts. We'll pause and we'll take our first break. 949-6990, 949-8037. Toll free if you wish, 1-800-534-8255. Or if I can get Mr. Carl to do it once more in his famous radio voice, the WhatsApp number. He say once and done. No, we're talking about the radio voice, Oh yeah, he say yeah, still once and done. I mean, I can't just song that we heard him play once, and he say he's not as good as he once was, but once as he ever was. Maybe his song. I'm just teasing you. 925-3261. A little bit of laughter sometimes, makes the heart, beat a little faster, and a little bit more of a jovial sort of spring in our step. But let's work together. Let's understand that when we critique, if we do it in love, we make it in a better space. Sometimes when we just try to build consensus, it's only because we want to go along and get along. We don't necessarily have anything of value to contribute. Let's not do it that way. Let's do it meaningfully, positively, productively. Let's pause. When we come back, you are going to be the first caller, so stay tuned.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
The MedLab team would like to extend their congratulations to all of the Heroes Day awardees. Thank you for your service.
I've got some beautiful clothes. I know just where they go. Puritan Cleaners.
Puritan Cleaners, now using the most popular and eco-friendly cleaning solvents. 2 convenient locations to serve you: Savannah Countryside and Eastern Avenue, Georgetown. Drive-through, rain or shine, free pickup and delivery services available. Call Puritan Cleaners, 949-7104. Also ask about our in-house discounts. Puritan Cleaners, you feel good when you look good.
Puritan Cleaners, 949-7104. That's 949-7104.
Did you know that ValueMed Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with ValueMed. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location. ValueMed on Walker's Road or Town. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway Box to Go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
Let me tell you something. I've been fishing our island since I was a boy, and it's getting harder and harder to get a good catch. Maybe it's because there are so many more people in Cayman than ever before. Maybe it's because of how the climate is changing. I don't know about that, but I do know that I want to be able to keep fishing and teach my children to fish one day as well. So it makes sense to me that we have certain areas and certain times of the year to fish for certain things. It feels unfair not to be allowed to fish where my dad had taught me to fish, but I know that being patient now means we can keep fishing for many more generations. We're all in this together, right?
For more info, download the Cayman DOE app or visit doe.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon, welcome back, and thanks for sharing with us. It is open line as we invite you to be a part of the discussion. 949-8037, 949-6990. Of course, toll free 1-800-534-8255. Then you can WhatsApp 925-3261 to share your thoughts with us. Certainly, let's talk about things that are positive, productive. Let's ensure that we are, as much as possible, looking, acknowledging, respecting, valuing, promoting those things that help us to look at life with a grateful heart. But it does not mean that there are not things that burdens our hearts, that weigh heavily on our minds, and sometimes we may feel as if we are carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders. But at the end of the day, ignoring the plights and perils of our people sometimes is only to our detriment. But if we dwell so much on them that they weigh us down so heavily that we become, a sense of despair and we become defeated, doesn't help us either. So what is the solution? Well, I think in order to be able to address something, you have to acknowledge it. You have to be willing to stand in the gap and to have, as Mr. Mika shares, the courage. We, I believe, are a people of immense courage. We see the resilience and the resolve that are in our, actions often. But for some reason, maybe we become a little bit too complacent. Maybe we become comfortable. Maybe we become too compliant. Maybe we become fearful that if we speak out and call, it as it is, that somehow that will run counter to this notion that we are no longer accommodating in hospital. Well, it's quite simple. Or is it? But you tell me. Perhaps it's akin to you go to someone's house and either A, they tell you straight up, listen, in the house, we have either these shoes here that you put on, you take off your shoes, or B, you see that there's a place for shoes, you either follow along and take the cue from the host and the other guests, or you decide, you know what, you're just going to walk on in. Now, if the host don't advise and inform you, hey, listen, I know you're new to this space, maybe it's not your custom, but in here, we don't wear outdoor shoes inside. Now, if the host grumbles and complains after, it's on the host. If you, in your actions, say, I'm not going to show them who it is, let me just put my foot down. Well, that is the personality of some. They want to be in control. They want to be able to put their stamp on things. The question is that if the host takes the stand and says, listen, sorry, that's the price of admission, as it were. and this is how it is. Now, you may be uncomfortable. Your socks may be holding, you may feel your feet are sweaty. There could be all sorts of reasons. Is there a way to respectfully have a conversation to make the requisite accommodation? But if the demeanor is that, well, I don't care what your plan is and what your rules are, but this is how it goes, and the host is either not willing to stand their ground and say, well, this is where it is. Now, it doesn't have to be an impasse. It just has to be an understanding. How do we get there? That may be very much what happens in some spaces and some places. What is interesting is that sometimes in the Cayman context and on a sort of a national level, we see it transpiring international as well. Take, for instance, since we live and work in Cayman as it is, we understand that private sector entities can adopt and implement policies that this is what we're going to require of not just the employees, but of customers. And if those things run counter to established laws, for some reason, the policy, not even a regulation made pursuant to legislation, but the policy of a private sector entity can trump national legislation. Now, is that right? And should there be, a lawsuit, a court case to settle that? Is it that we lack the political leadership to intervene and say, I'm sorry, but it doesn't work that way? Give as an example, for instance. We heard long ago that in the hospitality sector, there were allegations that gratuities were not necessarily being distributed fairly or in accordance with the law. Different reasons why perhaps there were not the requisite complaints to the requisite entities, or B, if and when the complaints were made, they were not properly followed up. But if nothing was done to educate, inform, and establish that this is what the law or the practice should be, then people could do it. Or when it was, there was no consequence, no enforcement. Who is at fault? The worker who says, I don't know what you may do with other workers, but with me, this is what is fair, this is what I understand, so I get mine. Is that worker then dismissed for being, rude and insolent and all the things, or a troublemaker? Or is the worker rewarded because the squeaker wheel gets the oil? And then, the worker says, well, what with you guys? I get what's mine. We may, as a few callers from time to time would say, well, that's where you need, organized labor, trade unions and the like. We may see that there are entities that come together for their collective interests. Business associations, certain professions will organize to have a unified voice, to be able to influence the political agenda, to perhaps lobby for legislative changes, perhaps amendments or introduction of new laws. But why is it that the quote-unquote the common man in the street doesn't organize? And is it the lack of organization the reason why that voice is never heard? Or worse, when someone from that voice steps up, you may be familiar with some of the stories, and there may be a particular individual within North America who represented migrant workers as they come in to work in the fields and the like, who thought, well, better labor conditions were not only essential, they were the right thing to do, just sort of a sense of humanity, but fairness and the like. If and when such a person comes to the fore, is that person supported? We can all see that something is wrong. We may even have a suggestion as to how to make it better. But if we don't stand, again, in unity, then will we get it any better? All right, message from someone saying that not sure if the phones are working. Well, the best way to find out is you try. And if you can't get through, then WhatsApp us. Let's try to dial up 3 numbers. A, 1-800-534-8255. We're told it's still a toll-free call. Option otherwise, 949-6990 or 949-8037. And of course, WhatsApp, 925-3261. We want to hear from you. Now, Mr. Carl, what do you say? You want to take that break? All right, make a couple of adjustments to the wires, run a few things, and let's see who shakes. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
They say variety is the spice of life. And that's why at Subway, we're introducing the new boneless hot sub.
Say what?
The premium sub brings new ingredients like spicy breaded boneless chicken, French's crispy fried onions, and buffalo wing sauce, bringing a zesty and flavorful experience with every bite. Add some of your favorite veggies, cheese, and ranch sauce of your choice of freshly baked bread for the ultimate boneless hot sub. For a little spice in your life, try the new boneless hot sub from Subway.
So good and tasty.
And make it a meal with a drink and chips or cookies. Subway. Eat fresh.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Apply today to the Walker Scholarship and Legal Training Program. You will join the Walker Scholarship and Legal Training Program, knowing that you will be offered more, both throughout your time in the program and after qualifying as a Cayman Islands attorney at law. Preparing Caymanians for a career of excellence through mentorship, opportunities, repetition, and experience. Be sure to have your application submitted by 28th of February 2023. Visit the careers section at walkersglobal.com to find out more about Walker's Cayman legal scholarships, articles of clerkship, qualifying work experience, and legal internships.
Increase your chances to win during the Rubis Pure Joy promotion. Don't miss Double Stamp Tuesdays and Thursdays at Jose's Rubis. Reflections offers you gas for less, and each time you fuel up at Jose's Rubis, you can enter to win weekly prize giveaways, plus the grand prize of a beautiful piece of land in Grand Cayman.
I'm sorry, what?
What did you say?
Yes, Double Stamp Tuesdays and Thursdays are back at Jose's. Lower priced fuel, awesome prizes, and your chance to win a $150,000 piece of land. Don't forget, on Tuesdays and Thursdays at Jose's Rubis, you not only get gas for less, you get double stamps to enter to win a $150,000 piece of land in the Rubis Pure Joy promotion. Be entered to win in the Rubis Pure Joy promotion by January 27th. Start your day in the know. Don't miss a beat. Radio Cayman's 7 a.m. news keeps you informed every Monday through Saturday at 7 a.m. Proudly brought to you by Walkers, a reputation for excellence. Learn more about the Walkers Scholarship and Legal Training Program at walkersglobal.com.
So Ray, are you ready for another See What I'm Saying?
Okay, Dwayne, so we're back. So I just want to wish everybody a happy new year or a happy, successful revolution around the sun.
What's in store for us this month?
Yeah, Dwayne, the topic this month for See What I'm Saying is Norwegians.
Norwegians? What I gotta do with it, man?
Yeah, Dwayne, believe it or not, some of our founding fathers were Norwegian.
Really?
Believe it or not, our DNA is coming back Scandinavian. So that means Norway and Sweden and places like that.
Norwegian in their blood?
Yeah, Dwayne, Norway is a maritime society like us too, you know. Plus all the connections we have with Norwegian seamen.
First you're talking about Norwegian blood. Now you're saying Norwegian seamen?
Yeah, we have a lot of interaction with Cayman seamen and Norwegian seamen, you know. So join us this Friday for another See What I'm Saying. This time the topic is Norwegian.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for sharing with us on 949-8037, 949-6990. Toll free if you want to use that line, 1-800-534-8255. WhatsApp if you wish. Voice note, or just send it through. We'll read it for you. Play it if you want. 925-3261 is our WhatsApp. One of our listeners sent through this WhatsApp message, and want to read it, look in some assistance. Hopefully We are indeed still displaced. Says, it's good evening, how's everybody? Happy New Year. Says I went to Napa, that's the auto park place, on Monday. Had the wallet with me, and I was asking if anyone finds it, if they could give me a call. It has the person's driver's license, the debit cards, the insurance cards. Not really worried about the money, only the documents in it. Preferably, hopefully somebody may find it and they can call. So if you were in the Napa or parts store on Monday or thereafter, and you found someone's wallet, the person says in the wallet it's their driver's license and the like, probably a few dollars, might be a few million, it might be a few million less. So yeah, give them a call. I know we got those kind of people in our communities. Yeah, let's go to the phones. Welcome, good afternoon. Thank you for calling. Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you today?
Yes, I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. Thank God for health and strength.
Yes, sir. Finally get the chance to call in.
I know you've been busy, man. I hope the fish are doing well.
Very busy, yes, sir. I've been keeping up with life. I would like to say something about the feral cats in the Cayman Brac. And Ryan, I was meaning to call in a couple of days ago when you had the conversation on the subject. My point of view of the feral cats that we have here in Cayman, right, and it comes into the neutering and spaying of the animals as well. If there is a issue in the Brac with the feral cats on the bluff, eating the booby eggs and like this. Now, if we think about catering to the animals, like say for example, now there's a lot of restaurants that are throwing or disposing of food and stuff. I know there's a lot of people that discourage harboring these cats in the areas, but if we could ward them away from the nesting areas by introducing little spots where they could feed the cats, like the public could feed the cats, and the cats gather in a specific area far away from the nesting areas that are being affected. I think that's a good idea, because it would be pretty inhumane if they were to be killing these animals for no reason, just because of some situation. The cats are pest controls as well. So if we could respect them by, catering to them and caring for them, making them more comfortable in a different location other than having to hunt for these animals, including iguana eggs and other bird eggs, and becoming a nuisance to the environment. They are living creatures. So,
but as I listen to you, we are recognizing that a number of people have been weighing in recently with respect to the amendments to the legislation and the introduction of new regulations. It seems like that either A, there's a misunderstanding, or as some have alleged, there's perhaps a misrepresentation, and maybe it's a bit of both in a sense. But as a couple of people have shared just this morning, so I'm glad that you called in, because this is very topical and timely. Some have shared that not only is it inhumane, the fact that we use the word euthanize doesn't mean that the cats are still not being killed off. We say we were culling the iguanas, and for some people it took them a minute to go, that's actually a killing. For some people, they're vehemently opposed to the taking of any life. But in this instance, though, people have expressed a concern that the practice that they have of seeing these cats in particular and making sure that they're fed, some will try their best to tend to them, not just only adopt them, but try to befriend them and treat them well, that they could be subject to arrest and imprisonment and fine and the like. Mr. Bothwell, I believe I understood what he said. Hey, you can be as humane as you want, you can take care of them, but you can't take them into your home, get them treated by the vet, and then reintroduce them back into the wild. That is the offense. There are people who thought, well, it's an animal. Are we gonna not be allowed to perhaps throw?
Yeah, honestly, because I mean, like, it's played out in the wild as well when we talk about Stingray City. We talk about domesticating animals. Now, when we domesticate an animal, we just make them comfortable in the home environment that they have been introduced into. Maybe it's a place that they have been invading, and reason for being invading because maybe they've been killing out the animals that are in the area, or they might have been doing something that they shouldn't have been doing, maybe because access for food and other things that they will be living for is not available. So this comes into the part where, like I say, we hear that they dig garbage, they kill the birds, they hunt the iguanas, they hunt other lizards and all other indigenous animals that we have here in Cayman, but we got to understand that who it is that brought them in here. It's got to be someone that had brought them in here, and who is going to held responsible for it? We cannot just go and kill them off just like how the iguanas have been killed off, because the reason to being behind the iguana culling is apparently they're eating the vegetation of the fruit and faunas. And the thing is about that as well, if they are in their natural habitat, they won't need to venture off out into the other habitats when they have been taken away out of their own habitat. So it goes back into the point with the bats, for example. The bat houses, it's a really nice idea, it's a good gesture for extra available housing for the bat. But what is the main reason behind having an extra home for these bats? Are they being taken away from their natural environment that they have to be rehoused? Because I honestly don't think that it's a safer bet to put these animals in a tall house on the top of a pole, and knowing that we having natural hazards like the hurricanes or nor'westerns. Maybe they mightn't find the right shelter. The trees protect them from the breeze being blown out of the trees and all these stuff. You know, there is also a good reason why they live in these environments and not in houses. So it's not like collecting them like birds, like how you would keep a chicken coop. Honestly, we can all sustain a chicken coop, but how many people can sustain a bat house?
Yeah, I mean, as just come back to that, but as one of two of our callers are weighing in electronically saying that, you know, remember, cats have that natural killer instinct. You know, it doesn't matter how well they're fed, you know, and they have that. And that's part of, I guess, who they are. One shared that, you know, maybe as an alternative, you know, to the culling, perhaps we could trap and like you said, maybe relocate them. You know, is that an option that's being considered? I'm not sure.
Relocation is a good option.
Yeah.
Relocation in an area that is not a risk of the nesting areas of the boobies, especially. You know, if that's the main concern, that they are killing out the boobies other than human beings collecting the booby egg.
Yeah, I'm trying to read this message. The person has shared that, apologies for the typos and the like, but perhaps where they are or the circumstance. But the gist of what I'm getting is a comparison. Let me just make sure that this other message that's coming through isn't. So this person is saying that the comparison with the dogs. I do apologize to the individuals I typed. I'm not able to read it how it is but I gather the gist of it is that the comparison to the dogs of yesteryear, as it were, where seemingly they were being encouraged to be spayed and neutered so they weren't being increasingly bred, and then you have these prohibited species. I don't think that's the word that's used there, but maybe that's what it is. Not being, you know, at some point they're being sort of removed from the society, and the person is asking, well, if we were able to trap, you know, these feral cats, treat those that are treatable, if those are filled with, you know, diseases and the like, then just like your own, you know, family pet, at some point, sometimes, unfortunately, you know, they succumb, or you have to, you know, very, very, very lovingly and reluctantly have the vet, you know, put them down, as it were. This person is saying, and if you reintroduce them, would they survive? And then, because they're spayed and neutered, they won't reproduce. And at some point, it wouldn't be overnight, as a cull would achieve, but at some point, they won't be no longer around. would that be a better, I presume this word is humane, would this be a more humane option?
Yeah, I mean, if we was to spay and neuter them, I understand that helps with the population growth. They don't repopulate, and it's a good thing when it comes into that. But like releasing them back into the wild, hoping that they'll catch back up their nature, it will be a challenge because they grow an attachment to the carekeeper, and it's the job for the carekeeper to let them go in a humane way, which would be introducing them into an area where, it's not in an area where they're residential areas. Approve with the residential areas at least if it's okay that they can release these cats, or if the residents in the area have cats, like, for example, here in Cayman, my aunt alone has like at least 5 or 6 of these cats coming around. She has no problem with them because she loves them. She make them run through her house. And it's like they said, she has these people coming over that they check on them, make sure that they're still healthy, look after them, and make sure that they are still in their perimeters, like, because cats, they can travel miles when they're ready. Especially when it comes into breeding. So by reducing the reproduction, it will lessen their travel distance. They will be more dependent on the location that they have been, especially if someone has been catering for their food needs, which will take off their natural instinct. But that's a good thing because it's taken away their instinct of hunting for these animals that they are being called invasive.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that word, alien and invasive and thing, and I'm not trying to in any way be inflammatory nor derogatory or anything, but I'm looking at the messages that we're getting now. This one reads, we did the same with the lionfish, we did the same with the iguana, we're now targeting the cats. The question is, well, what's next? This other message gives a couple of and I'll, as I message the person back, only because I don't want it to create, unnecessary fodder and detract from what I gather is a substantive discussion. This person is saying, but we are willing to do it to these things, but we're not willing to look at, some things. And it mentions a number of what I think would be plant species, but it also says, and this is the part that perhaps I won't phrase it the way it said. It also says, yet we're pushing, and it phrases it in a nice way that perhaps would be better for a discussion at the domino table as opposed to public radio. But it says, we're not willing to look at the population growth and the pace of development. We don't put moratoriums and restrictions in that place, but we're willing to cull, and I can see props in my mind's eye how that word is written, that it's not necessarily complimentary. Cull cats, iguanas, what's next?
Yeah, exactly. I honestly, I was in with the culling of the iguanas. I understand the reason behind it. And then afterwards, I stopped it for one reason and one reason only, because I know that the population growth will never stop. Now, here's how it works. Like, it's like an invasive species. The minute that they find there's a predator, their first instinct is to reproduce as fast as possible. So now, if something is being under attack, the fight or flight instincts for them is like, hey, we need to keep working on this because we are going to be extinct. They have a knack that cannot see. Now, if a fish in particular, let's just go into the marine environment. If a fish has noticed that the food has been reduced in the location, they'll quick time migrate to another location and abandon the location that has been depleted, and they'll look for another way to find their food until the other area grows right back. It is a repeating cycle. They do that in the wild, the same thing they do in the wild here on land. And if they see that they're being attacked in a certain area, they'll avoid that location completely.
Yeah,
they'll find another way.
All right, man. Well, listen. I always invite you to call and share your thoughts as we would for everybody else. We have the news break. We have another segment after that talking about education. So, any quick closing thoughts, or we'll talk to you later if you're not. All right. Thanks very much, man. Let's pause. When we return, let's focus on some education. Let's just get a chat and see where we are, and invite you to be part of a discussion. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Department of Commerce and Investment advises the public that its offices as well as its counter on the first floor of the Government Administration Building will be closed on Friday, January 27th at noon to facilitate staff training. In international news, the three main figures in Ukraine's Interior Ministry have been killed in a helicopter crash. The Ukrainian Interior Minister died alongside his first deputy minister and state secretary. 14 people died when the helicopter came down, including one child. There is no indication the crash was anything other than an accident. Elvis Presley's iconic Graceland mansion will stay in the family after the death of his only child, Lisa Marie Presley. The 54-year-old singer died last week after suffering a cardiac arrest. Presley's three daughters, Riley, Harper, and Finley, will inherit the Tennessee estate, according to a representative. Presley became the sole heir to Graceland and its 17,500 square feet mansion when she turned 25. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. For the latest in news and information,
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands. Hinton Roxroy Connolly was born in Creek, Caymanbrac on 9th of September 1937. Fondly known as Big H to his family and friends, both a sailor and electrical technician with 5 years at sea and 29 years with cable and wireless, in January 1960, Big H married Cicely Dilbert of Creek, Caymanbrac and had 5 sons. In October 1976, he was united in his second marriage to Francine Porter of Spot Bay, Caymanbrac, and they had 1 daughter. Big H was a part of the band Eddie and the Beach Boys, and in August 1977 traveled to New York, where he recorded and published his album, A Quick Drink by the Pool Bar. Big H could always be found at the Hilton, his backyard kitchen, which he built in the late 80s to house in yams and cassava he cultivated on the bluff, later converting it into an outdoor kitchen which was named the Las Vegas Hilton. Big H spent the majority of his time at the Hilton, and you would find him playing his guitar and singing his heart out while sipping on his 345 beers. He was known for having many cook-ups with his famous beef and pork. On the evening of Wednesday, 18th September 2019, 9 days after celebrating his 82nd birthday, Hinton passed away peacefully at the Health City Hospital in East End, Grand Cayman. He was the proud father of 6 children, along with 17 grandchildren and 11 great-grandchildren. Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon, welcome, and I'm honored always to be able to have a chance to chat with many of our civil servants across, the public sector, and especially when we get a chance to either focus on education and or healthcare, and the two go hand in hand. And as Wednesdays, we get a chance often in this slot to be able to do just that. So, a very pleasant, colorful, wonderful good afternoon. Our educators in our schools, our policymakers in our offices, our parents and our pupils coming together. We are partnering to make sure that learning is not just fun and engaging, but it's continual. So I'm going to learn. It's never too early to start smart, right?
No.
Have a smart start. So good afternoon, Mom. Good to see you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Hope you had a good time.
Oh, always. The heart smiles, it radiates through the eyes. That's why mine is so bright and beaming. And to you, if it's okay publicly, I like the neck adornment. That's nice.
Thank you so much.
Well, quite intriguing.
Part of early childhood.
Yeah.
Yes.
See that? And I think sometimes, we have things where we engage our students, and through it, we have a teacher moment. We can get the question, you can get the chances. And I think that's what we as adults need to do more of. Engage, so we can interact.
And connect. And so it becomes a natural flow of learning.
Yeah. What's about as a natural mystic flow?
Yeah.
Truly. Well, again, I asked you this prior to coming back in, so that we will be able to facilitate it and maybe utilize it in further programming. We'll start with you. Do you remember what I asked? All right.
Thank you so much. So I'm Pearline Henry Burrell, Senior Policy Advisor and Manager for Early Childhood Care and Education Unit within the Ministry of Education. With me is Miss
Vanessa Cameron, and I'm an Early Childhood Care and Education Officer with responsibility for working with families.
And I want to emphasize that at some point with Vanessa, because we always hear about this partnership, the school, the home, right? The parent, the pupil, and the principal. And yet we don't always get that connection. Just yesterday we had a chat where one parent was saying that increasingly the leveraging of technology, the parent is able to, the words they use, a portal, can go, we can find out much. I know many listeners are much younger than I am. Back in the day, my mother would write a note. It was folded a certain way. There was no question that you would not deliver that note to the teacher. You didn't read it. You gave it to the teacher in the morning. It was read. Something was scribed on it. You took it back home. And that was the exchange of information that I had between my house and the school. Up to this day, I've never opened the note. I have no idea. I question sometimes whether the note was blank. I honestly do. But it was that thing, right? So we did it in that format. But yet today we have immediate access through the portals. How many of us are doing just that and having that family sort of commitment? And we can talk about the need for the home to be vested. But
one of the things, whether we're prepared or not, COVID has taught us that families are indeed their children's first teachers. And as such, there's a need to ensure that they are empowered to take on the task of supporting their children from the very start, as it is for early childhood education. So we cannot do it in isolation of the parents. There is a need to do that and empower them.
Can I then ask then, is it a perception from some, whether the school or whether the parent, that one is the teacher? So the parent may say, as an example, well, I send my child to learn reading, writing, and arithmetic because if I could do that, I would do it. That's why I'm sending there. Or is it that the teacher is saying, well, we need you to do this as well? Where is that balance? Who does what and to what extent?
I think in terms of education in itself is more than reading and writing. Is a holistic development of that child, which entails social and emotional well-being, communication and language beyond math and English. And for in order for you to prepare a child well, you definitely need the home for you to begin to contextualize that child, because every child is unique, and so the parent has a responsibility to ensure that they set that foundation. But if they're not equipped or empowered, then how can they do so? And so from a teaching point of view, I can hold unrealistic expectations of the parents if I assume that they know what they need to do. So there's a part for me to play as a teacher. There's a part for the parents to play. Right. And I think once you're empowered with what this part looks like, and as educators, how we can support them to be able to fulfill those roles. Three parts, because the child has a part to play too.
Exactly, that tripartite approach, right? We've used the words, number just the times in these few minutes of our discussion. Equip, empower, engage, about our approach to educate, and referencing the context. To what extent, in that context, is the cultural ethos playing into the education, not just the reading and writing and arithmetic, but the education? So Nessa, what is your thought on that?
Culture is embedded in everything that we do. So that's foremost. And when we see a child enter, whether the institution or early institution or school, we have to see that child in culture. And it's important that they are celebrated and we are responsive to them culturally and also linguistically.
So being able to hear and understand and relate to what is being shared from the student to the teacher, but from the teacher to the student. Not just the acoustics in the room, how audible, the person speaking, but I say this hopefully, I've learned from it, I was in a presentation once as an adult. It was a presentation that I wanted to be a part of. But the person speaking, for some reason, I could not understand. We both seemingly spoke English, and it was just challenging. Now, was it my mindset because of the accent? Was it the fact that, my breakfast that morning wasn't my oatmeal, it was something else? Because
it's a child is compound.
Uh-huh.
And there are lots of elements that are really drawing, vying for that child's attention. And so it's a really difficult task for teacher to understand that child. But as Mrs. Cameron said, we see the child in a cultural context. Where is the child from? What impact does that have on the child's development and learning, and even understanding and growing within that learning environment? It's a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
Teaching is no easy task.
I was once told, and something I try to subscribe to, the greatest exercise of power is restraint. And sometimes I wonder, as parent or as teacher, I see Dr. Burrell, she's like, finish my thought, or I'll come back to it and emphasize.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'll have a go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. And sometimes, we see that. The parent says, you can do this just because I said so. Or the teacher doesn't engage. Now, with great deference to both of you, I not only value education and teachers, but I had two educators. We were chatting about something else because they're going to guide me to help to guide something else. And they said, oh, by the way, what's today's discussion? So I wish we had started with this, because the 2 or 3 or 10 hours that we may have taken wouldn't have been enough. That passion that they have. And they emphasize the importance of, starting early and reinforcement in the home as to what transpires in the class, and in the class what's valued in the home. But I said it often that as young teachers, and I think they met not only in age but in their early time, they made a point because they had a teacher, that's probably why two of them were so good friends, who literally would get down at the level of the child and talk to the child in a way, not demeaning, not condescending, not dismissing that I am teacher, I am adult, but I need you to understand that this dynamic, because a small person and a big person, you can feel kind of intimidated, right? Only to be berated, in her case, by her principal, and in the other case, by another older member of staff. Oh no, you're the teacher, you're the front of the class, and you walk in my image in this militant way. You laughing and joking and singing sometimes a song in order to get the lesson through. Now this was 1,000 years ago. Today that's probably accepted practice. So Ms. Burrell, how?
It's actually that you meet the children wherever they're at. And in the early childhood level, you come with a bundle of joy. And so that would mean it's a lovely day out in the centers, our schools, to see our practitioners. They're laughing. So we have come a long way. And we'll be on the ground and they're rolling with the children, role playing with them. It is that expectation. You're in there with them because you're enjoying the journey with them.
Ms. Vanessa?
Yes. Thank you, Dr. B. And in the early learning centers at the moment, we are the Early Childhood Care and Education Unit. We are supporting practitioners to guide young children's behavior. Because as you said in the example before, it's not brute force. Right? We are empowering children to be in compliance and to do the right thing. But we have to model, as you said earlier, this practice so that the children in the early years, they can, understand their limits and boundaries, right, through this modeling.
Yeah. So two things. I'm guided by what you share, but also by, our own sort of experiences, but by particular interest and instruction by some of my friends who are educators. One who says, you never retire. Once an educator, always. Is it a misnomer? We're empowering them to be compliant, was your phrase. How do we empower them to be compliant? Should they, if they empower, can they be free thinkers and learners, critical thinkers and consumers?
I think if I may take...
And she's a linguist, and you can hear the diplomacy.
I think as you empower them, the ultimate goal is actually self-control. So you're empowering them to have self-control, where I can do this without an external agent. And so within that, as Ms. Cameron said before, the communication and language piece, you should be free. Like, for example, I went into an earlier setting this morning, and I said to the child, "What do you think you're doing here?" Just playfully. And she said, "Of course I'm cooking." And we had a wonderful conversation. And then I went over to a plant, and she said, "Don't touch that. It's alive." And I said, "How do you know it's alive?" She said, "You see the green leaves on it?" And so you want children to be able to present their sides of the story, as you rightfully said. And it's through that warm and responsive care where children don't feel like they're intimidated. The environment, the social environment, within the social climate within the classroom is one where a child could say, I respectfully disagree with that, and then present his side or her side. Because we don't want children to feel that I may not have an agreement with this, but because it is the expectation, I must comply with this, even though I have a different opinion. Put forward your opinion. Because one part of the earliest curriculum talks about respect.
Yes.
It's respect for self. I respect myself and respect for others. And within that scope of respect, it talks about respect for culture, respect for religion, respect for the environment. And so we want children, respect can only be developed in an atmosphere where I can present my side.
Respect begets respect.
Yes.
So that self-control, that empowering, to what extent then? Again, we as the adults, because sometimes we probably acknowledge the power dynamic. Sometimes we unconsciously ignore it, right? Parent, because I said so, or the teacher, whichever. We've seen that it's shifted, but to what extent then that self-control in order to ensure that the child has a voice, is heard, but then isn't perceived as being insolent, isn't perceived as being disruptive, and at the same time is being nurtured. Now, I'll come back to compliant, because I think sometimes many of us are compliant out of a sense of fear, out of a sense of what may transpire if we're not, but it is not a sense of, well, I can respectfully agree to disagree. Even as adults, many of us in a meeting will not share our voices because I won't get a promotion, I'll be looked at and ostracized and this and that. So, what about that?
It's a lot of things are happening there. We want children to be empowered. We want children, and for me, it's about that social. And one of the prime areas of learning is children's social and emotional development. So it's not an attack for children to understand. I'm asking this of you because here are the reasons why. And quite often, if children know the reasons why, if you jump from this table, you'll injure your feet. You may something will
actions
happen
and
to
consequences.
you. The consequences, and so when it's more than just sit here.
So, Miss Vanessa, what about you? Jump in. Come on. Go ready. Pull that mic close to you, or you pull close to the mic. Let's hear you. You go right ahead, Gilly.
So when we talk about being in compliance, it's in compliance to those expectations. And so as an educator, then we teach children expectations. Because young children, they just don't come ready and know exactly what to do. So it's this modeling, this teaching in simply nurturing way. So we're promoting nurturing care, where our interactions between the child and the caregiver, it's responsive, but it's also emotionally supportive as well.
So then I'm hearing us also say that our actions and our words must align. Not only say what I'm doing, but I'm doing what I'm saying. So to what extent, many of us, and I'm not going to pick on my friends who are politicians, but they're easy in this example. We would say oftentimes, they say the right things, they get our ears, but when they go in, they contradict what they say. So in the educational context, in the classroom, to what extent is the action, right, is aligned with the word where we talk about nurturing, but then our action would appear to be more militant. The word of saying we want to empower you, but only to the extent that you follow what I say, as opposed to.
Well, that's a very complex and compound question. But for me, I think if the children are being empowered to a point of understanding, as Ms. Cameron said, that these are the regulations, because with responsibilities, rules and all those are responsibilities of the children for them to know. And as Ms. Cameron mentioned again, it's all about modeling. And as the human elements will come in. Keep your voice. We use internal voice. But then one day I'm shouting at the children. And it is that recognizing that even within modeling, the human elements will come. Is reflecting on those moments and then ensuring that whatever we are saying is aligning with what we are doing. Because children are watching. And they are very good at looking at, how do you say this, but you're doing that? That's a little bit contrary. And they learn a lot vicariously, even without us intentionally putting in the teaching and learning there. They are learning from what we do. And that can lead to a certain sense of confusion. Because you're asking me to do this, but why are you treating me this way? Or why are you saying these things to me? Yeah. So it's a process, because as I said, the human elements will come in when you're pressed.
And I would imagine, just even thinking to our own children, our own sort of extended families, our own experiences, that we have some. I won't necessarily use the word culture in a sense of the different dynamic from the spaces and places in which we've come, but just within that culture, within our homes, there are some children that are more, let's use the word assertive. There's some that you have to almost ensure that you pull this thing out of them. You extract it. They're there, but they're very, as a teacher and as a parent, oh, such a good little well-behaved child, so quiet, and sometimes maybe overlooked. So how then do we ensure that that assertive, precocious is the word that I think some would use, very questioning, inquiring mind, well, why not? Isn't seen as you've had those experiences in your classrooms, and you've seen your teachers question that at SMTs and like.
Well, I mean, as I said, human elements will always be, all have human elements. One of the things is know our children well. And once we know our children well, then you'll know who. Let's say you did beautifully a while ago. He said, "Come on, Miss Cameron, jump in," because of the energy. Yeah. So probably who taught the entire afternoon. See, but as you see, so it's the same thing with the teacher. The teacher has that 360, cruising around the classroom, not necessarily physically, but feeling the energy of the children, and then even those that are silent, and sometimes maybe those who need the most from the teacher, but because of that quiet and nice stuff, and we assume that they're well behaved. So that teacher, that emotional connection will help the teacher to say, all right, tell me something, Perlin. So I want to say our teachers are getting there in forming
we'll make sure
emotional bond with families.
So Miss Vanessa,
children.
She's ready to go. Let's go. Such a wonderful lady.
and what we know as educators, that children develop at different rates, right? And when we have a classroom of children, they are all diverse. So being more reserved, you may need, it might be fine because that's your personality. Temperament comes into play as well. However, there is daily formative assessment of every child that should be occurring in the classroom. And so we know the strengths and weaknesses of the children, and we encourage them all to be confident. So those confident children who may be, questioning, oh, I love that. Because then it gives us an opportunity for them to be budding leaders from as early, as 3, 4, you can see their little personalities, just bursting. And so these are opportunities for us to give them, to plan provisions that will, give them opportunity to take the mic and to go and perform, those creative arts and so on. So the teacher just has an awesome opportunity to ensure that, we create these opportunities for children to just bloom and shine.
Yeah. So let's ask then, because I think increasingly as we look at, starting earlier with our children, teaching, not only are we starting early, but we instructing in the appropriate way. At some point, or maybe after the break, we'll ask about what is that, because it may be that we're trying to do it, but what we're doing, for instance, with phonics, are we just memorizing the alphabet, or are we getting it properly? And we're counting and the like. But individual educational plans, those are IEPs. To what extent, as an experienced educator, having that for each child is tantamount to their success, is essential. What's your take on that?
Right, if we are looking at those two things, so just so that I get you clearly and I could answer clearly. We're talking about children who have special education needs, or are we talking about children within the classroom, making those differentiation for all children?
So let me then ask then, right? And thank you. You allow me to ask other questions. I think many times when we think of that, we also think of special education needs. I wrote it down to ask specifically about that. But before, so before I come to that, when we think of special education needs, is there a particular perception that we're only thinking about certain children?
No. So we are talking, if we are thinking about meeting the needs of all children, which is what primarily teaching and learning should be about.
Right.
Meeting the needs of all children, including those who may have special education needs. And one of the things, I'm not the guru on it.
No.
Right. So one of the things about that is that we are looking at good first teaching. So regardless of you have special education needs, or you have you need learning support for some form of developmental needs or so, all children deserves to meet them where they're at.
Yeah. So special education needs, what do we mean by that? What children, when you share that, what sort of child are you thinking of? Like children with...
All right, so...
what constitutes special education?
So, I said that's not my area.
No.
So if we look into it, that the code of practice gives clearly those areas. So we'll have children who are actually with speech and language. That's fall on the communication. Our children on the autism spectrum, those children are specific with special education needs. You may have children who are not formally diagnosed, they don't have any special education needs, but they may have additional learning needs.
So guide my language, but just in layman's terms, when I hear you, if we think of SEN, the special education, we're thinking maybe physical or learning disabilities, whether hearing, auditory, or whatever.
Come on.
Those kind of things?
You know that, yes. So we're thinking of maybe auditory input, it may be communication and language, it may be physical disability.
Right.
Those are the broader terms. But you may have persons within the classroom who need a little bit more support in order to reach the expected level of performance or development.
Right.
As per early years, we talk about those children who may be developmentally delayed a bit.
Right.
So they are not meeting age and stage expectations.
Okay.
And as Mrs. Cameron said earlier, that children develop at their own rate.
Right.
And so this is something that we want the large community of parents and persons to know, that children, even though a child may be deviating, moving a bit away from the expectation, whether it be in communication and language, these milestones were actually established as for the average child.
Okay.
And so, but knowing where the average child should be will help me to know what is my child on track, or does my child need a little bit more of support?
Right.
So there are two levels of things we're talking about here. Children who have severe disparity between the expected level of development and where they're actually performing, whether it be physical, or it be communication and language, or even social and emotional.
Physical, cognitive. So the SEN, the special education needs, tend to be there.
Yes.
What about a child who may be meeting those age and stage targets much sooner, so very highly academically engaged? Is that SEN, is that special education needs, or no, that's separate?
No. So if you're thinking about a child who has advanced, for example, in early years, we talk about they have exceeded the expectation. So they have exceeded. They have what do we call those again?
Like gifted and talented. Is that what you're using them?
Well, that has to be determined by special kind of assessments. But you may have children who have met those milestones before, so they have secured in the milestones, and they may be exceeding those milestones, because they're moving along a continuum of learning.
Right.
So if I have, for example, let us say I'm supposed to be performing at between ages 30 to 50, and I'm at 55 or 60. So there's another band at which you take the child along the continuum of learning. And we have to be careful about gifted and talented, because we are looking at the holistic development of a child. I can be good linguistically, but apparently it may not be good physically. So one area of development may be lagging behind the other.
What do you think that when we look at special education needs, and especially in the early years, but throughout, that we may only look at the cognitive, the physical, and the other sort of things that are obvious, and maybe not the, as you said, the child who is hitting those targets much earlier? I don't like labels, but the gifted and talented that we might do.
I think we look at all children, and if you look at when meeting the needs of all children, and so if a child has exceeded the expected level of performance for this particular age group or attainment, or whether it be milestones, then, as I said before, you are guided by the next level. That you're moving on. So if I come in a class, for example, and I'm looking at Miss Cameron's class, and I notice that an activity is given, or activities, because we're using play-based, center-based learning, and I'm not seeing that little Miguel is appropriately challenged, then that means that she's not meeting the needs of all children.
Okay.
So at this stage of our educational system, you're looking at good first teaching.
Right.
And good first teaching means that whether you're special, every child is special, but you're meeting me exactly where I am, and you're moving me along the continuum. Right. And that is why we are building up our centers, our practitioners within our centers and schools to know the milestones, so that they can identify those children early who may not be meeting the milestone, while not ringing an alarm, but just saying that these may need a little bit of support in order to meet the target. Right. And those who have exceeded, we are taking them on a journey.
Perfect. Well, when we come back from the break, let's Miss Vanessa, you want to jump in before we go to the break?
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, please.
I heard you right. I think when you said certain skills are not seen, I try to encourage practitioners to think about the social and emotional aspect of the child's development, because and that's why in the centers right now we are helping them to help children to identify their emotions and to name their emotions, because oftentimes we celebrate, oh yay, this child can read, this child knows to count from 1 to 100, but then the social and emotional aspect, is underdeveloped and not, so we want to, we are encouraging both practitioners and with the Smart Start program, the families, to also ensure that that aspect of the child development is not forgotten.
All right. Let's continue that discussion after. And I think it's crucial that we become engaged, informed, we understand, as parents. I credit our mother. She never, I don't think, ever used some of the terminology, like, for instance, that we use often, a lifelong learner. But by example, she did. She understood the importance that each child was different and was motivated to learn and learn differently. So maybe we can talk about some of those things. The challenge is that we, the parent or parents, those primary caregivers in the homes, however that's defined, are we actively engaged and willing to not only be accountable, but hold others accountable as well. So I think education is a passion of mine, and I learn a lot, and I may engage further. Let's do that after the break.
Thank you.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
The MedLab team would like to extend their congratulations to all of the Heroes Day awardees. Thank you for your service.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands. The ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom. The land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
JN money touchdown. Send the money now. Reach wow. You say you need some money. JN money, I can send it in a hurry. Get through quick when you come collect your cash, or use your money card and swipe it in a flash. Send funds to any bank, yeah. Pay your bills quick, yeah. Low fees, you know what it, yeah. JN money, we are pick, yeah. Send and receive funds at any JN Money location. It's fast, affordable, and convenient. Money touchdown with JN Money. Send funds to any bank, yeah. Pay your bills quick, yeah. Low fees, you know what it, yeah. JN Money, we are pick, yeah.
Call 345-945-2014 for details. Available at JN Money locations across the Cayman Islands.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay.
No one can stop me when I taste the fear.
Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Increase your chances to win during the Rubis Pure Joy promotion. Don't miss Double Stamp Tuesdays and Thursdays at Jose's Rubis. Reflections offers you gas for less, and each time you fuel up at Jose's Rubis, you can enter to win weekly prize giveaways, plus the grand prize of a beautiful piece of land in Grand Cayman.
I'm sorry, what?
What did you say?
Yes, Double Stamp Tuesdays and Thursdays are back at Jose's. Lower priced fuel, awesome prizes, and your chance to win a $150,000 piece of land. Don't forget, on Tuesdays and Thursdays at Jose's Rubis, you not only get gas for less, you get double stamps to enter to win a $150,000 piece of land in the Rubis Pure Joy promotion. Be entered to win in the Rubis Pure Joy promotion by January 27th.
Show your Cayman pride this National Heroes Day. Join us in Heroes Square at 9 a.m. on Monday, January 23rd to honor those who have served our country through volunteerism and charitable services. As always, the event is free and open to all. The festivities will also be aired live on Radio Cayman and streamed on Cayman Islands Government YouTube channel.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. And I think, we probably could talk for another 2 weeks continuously and still be as engaged about education. But in less than 20 minutes, we'll conclude because our wonderful guests, unlike me, I'm at work. They have to get back to work, but they're working here. So as we talk about their Smart Start Early Years stimulation program, they're Senior Policy Advisor and a manager of the Early Childhood Care and Education Unit.
Yes.
Wow. You tell governments, man, to either give an acronym or give a long title.
ECCE.
ECCE. Can we see the song? ECCE. Come on, and the political call could do that. Well, together with Dr. Perlin, we have Ms. Vanessa Cameron, the Early Childhood Care and Education Officer. And maybe, as you continue the discussion, if it's not inappropriate, because I think many times, not only do we ensure that we bring people into the studios with the requisite credentials and experience and expertise and like that, could we sort of talk about maybe what you do? If not, we can talk about the time. Senior Policy Advisor. Many people hear that and go, it'd be like shadowing His Excellency or the Deputy Governor one day. But what do they do? Is it, lunch all day long? Is it, but as Senior Policy Advisor and the manager, what would your job entail?
Well, I will talk about early childhood.
Uh-huh.
For early childhood is looking at policy and programs as is regulations and building those, looking at how those are applied within real life context. For example, the regulations and how the early childhood care and education centers are actually in compliance with that. A part of that being led by Ms. Darbra is a re-registration process. Are they registering in line with the Education Act and the Education Regulation and Education Council guidelines? Reviewing those guidelines, looking at those policies, are they still relevant for today?
Right.
Also doing research, looking at research, and then not just international or regional research, but also looking at our more so intuition from the local context and from which we give birth to Smart Start. So looking at what the data is showing, looking at the statistical compendium, where are the children, where are the families, what are the needs out there, listening to that's what the policy advisor does, listening to the public, looking at the government strategic policy statements as it relates to education, but zeroing down on early childhood education, and then putting those into outputs to ensure that we're on track in meeting those SPS. So a lot of things, and above that,
well, another set of you have fun.
Above that, but I'm enjoying it as it relates to early childhood. That is what I do. I love it, and also a big part of it is smiling and making the lives of those we serve better. But I could go on and on.
Yeah, as I listen to you, I mean, it's the idea of the policy advisor helping to formulate, so that the advice goes there to guide the implementation, and then just Vanessa, from that perspective, as the education officer for Ireland, your role would be going out and inspecting and complying, make sure they're in compliance, and the like would tell us so that we know.
And supporting practitioners, early years centers, to meet the needs of all learners. Yeah. Especially those with SEND. We are now training early childhood. We call them SENCOs, early childhood SENCOs, or designated leads. And so my role involves training them. Okay.
So early childhood SENCOs?
Yes.
Only because
early years SENCOs, or designated leads.
Or designated leads.
Right. So that person who is designated to coordinate the services in that center for children with additional needs or those with special education needs and disabilities.
Yeah. And this is where sometimes I'll be just honest, education and healthcare, I mean, housing is important and agriculture and stuff, but those two, I just get so excited about it. And for some people, they may say, but geez, that's only his own passion. Simply for me, those are the pillars in our society: a strong education system, equally robust and strong healthcare system. Because if your populace is not educated and healthy, the diamonds, the oil, the gold, the financial services, the hospitality sector doesn't make any difference because people can't benefit from it. So having that, and I want to say that to talk about what I wrote down: stakeholders, specifically the parents getting involved and engaged. But I'm told we have a quick call. Let's see whether this is the call with the turtle meat and the cornbread and the sea pie. Let's go. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Interesting topic.
Yes, ma'am. Welcome.
Important topic.
Very much so. Yes.
Speaking about children, early childhood. Recently we had one of our citizens from West Bay, Mrs. Rena Jefferson, who was awarded the British Empire Medal, and particularly because of her services in the area of early childhood education. And I remember clearly when she first started out and was, she opened a preschool and all that. And there were, at times, there seemed to be those parents who, it's a place where our children can be kept for the day. We believe that they'll be looked after good and they'll receive good food and care.
Yes, ma'am.
And all that's very important for when you have to leave your child and go to work and so on. But early childhood education is so important. And as you mentioned and as your guest mentioned earlier, each child is different. Sometimes the only love some children, real love, that some children have the privilege of enjoying is when they're in these schools.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's like the branch of a tree. If you try to shape that branch or train it to move in a certain direction, if it's bent, you can do it easily when it's a young growth. When you get into years of moving in the same direction, that's difficult. And so it is with a child. And so I would hope that all of us, parents, teachers, educators in general, and those around, will understand the importance of early early childhood education.
Yes, ma'am.
It is basically the foundation of what that child can or is likely to become later on in life, whether that's mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And speaking of spiritually, that I may have just said that last, but not that it's least. I am of the opinion that a child is trained. You know, nowadays, this is not a note that I want to dwell on, but it's important that years ago, even on Sundays, or in many cases, you know, there are individuals who worship or go to church on Saturday, but they took their children to church with them. They were training them well in doing so. We had that opportunity, and we give our parents and grandparents thanks for having taken that step and ensure that that important phase in our life was something that they paid close attention to. Nowadays, we're better off. We have our boats, we have our television, and we'll say, oh, well, you know, we worship at home, we turn on the TV, we make sure. There's nothing like a group of individuals getting together in fellowship.
Yes, ma'am.
Why do so many think that having a drink at home is not it? You need to get out there with the guys in the bar.
Right. So,
am I saying that that's what they should do? No. But they find that this getting together. Imagine what this would mean to our community and our island if on a Sunday or a Saturday we find parents who realize, I am training my child in the way he should go or she should go. And this is the most important aspect of life. I must not put it further down on my priority list.
Yes, ma'am.
I must ensure that I look after this as one of my top priorities. Thank you for the session.
Thank you too, ma'am.
For the young ladies who participated, and I am grateful that you offered me an opportunity to speak with you.
Thank you too. Thank you for sharing with us. Respectfully, we have the final break. When we come back, you can maybe help us to understand more as we continue the discussion. Please join us after the break.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
The MedLab team would like to extend their congratulations to all of the Heroes Day awardees. Thank you for your service.
When you're craving something big, something tasty that gives you that lip-smacking satisfaction, something that hits the spot, there is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
It's pretty tasty.
Filling and full of flavor. Try our new sweet onion steak teriyaki with a twist. Or the classic chicken teriyaki. Top it with green pepper, onions, cheese, and that sweet onion teriyaki sauce, all piled on your favorite artisanal bread. Satisfy that craving with a footlong from Subway.
Fresh, delicious, tasty, meaty.
Let's make it a meal with a drink, chips, and cookies. There is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
New year, new arrivals at Tomlinson Furniture and the Mattress Gallery. Modern and stylish bedroom sets are up to 20% off. Save up to $600 on Beauty Rest Black mattress sets and iComfort mattress sets, including adjustable bases. Our Palliser shipment of quality sofas, sectionals, and sleepers has also arrived with great family-friendly steam-resistant fabrics. Discover all the new arrivals, including plush beanbags. Save now until January 31st, only at Tomlinson Furniture and the Mattress Gallery, corner of Hospital and Walkers Road.
busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day? Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences. Cayman Arts Festival 2023 from New York to London. Landing in Cayman, 8 landmark events, global music on the island's stage. On Saturday, February 4th, 7 p.m. at the Westin Hotel Ballroom, the Cabaret Concert with John Webber, Natalie Douglas, Gabrielle Stravelli, and Pat O'Leary. Tickets are available at www.caymanartsfestival.com. For more information, call 922-5550 or email inquiries@caymanartsfestival.com. The Cabaret Concert, Saturday, February 4th, 7 p.m. at the Westin Hotel Ballroom. Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. As we talk about the Smart Start Early Years Stimulation Program, I should probably put on my glasses so I can read what's printing in front of me. Thank you, Ms. Norman, for printing it off. But man, that font is small. I better rely on my memory and get my terminology correct. Dr. Perlin Henry Burrell, together with our colleague, Ms. Vanessa Cameron. Thank you very much. And thank you, too, for, not just helping me to fuel the passion that is education, but maybe through this discussion, invite our parents to become more actively engaged. 1,000 years ago, I talked about my mother sending a note, with us to the teacher, and that communication was back home and forth. That was an engaged parent who understood the importance of, you're not just going to school to occupy the time to satisfy a law. You're going to school to contribute, but also to benefit. So with that, prior to we talk about stakeholders, and again, I think we all say so much, but I wonder to what extent what we say resonates with us, and does it accord with our actions? Actions speak louder than the words they say.
So, in relation to the Smart Start and that and how that helps to empower families, children, and their families, is that as you would be aware that one of the government's strategic policy statement for education, broad outcome 1, 2. See underneath that would say that to strengthen and increase early childhood education. And so, as I said, as the policy advisor and a team with lovely ladies, we look into the different offerings across the island, and we recognize that there's a need for sustainable, because it's one thing to give today, so a few workshops, and then the parents don't see us again. So in meeting the mandate of increasing and actually ensuring that we have the quality of the provision, we looked at the different areas. And one of the areas that we recognize is that in the eastern districts and the further eastern, that's eastern and north side, as you would know, there are no early years provision with the exception of the reception programs. And so in order to meet the needs of those children and families, the Early Childhood Care and Education Unit has developed what we call Smart Start. And that the whole aim of that is to ensure that every child has the right start. Because we have done a walkthrough. Ms. Cameron will talk more about it. I'm just doing the introductory piece to that Smart Start, is that we want to ensure in meeting this SPS that we bring stimulation to where there is no formal stimulation. And so Smart Start has 6 components to it. We have, and I won't get into the complexity of them today, Smart Start has those components, Baby and Me, So that one focuses on moms of newborns, where they're given a bag and with lovely things in there, just to help them to know that with the services that are out there, you talk about the integrated service model, where it's not just early childhood education or the Ministry of Education at large, but then all stakeholders out there, we all play a pivotal role in ensuring that families are equipped to take on the journey of parenthood, which is no easy one. There's no manual, because as we said, all children are different, as so is all families. And so we also have Rockabye. We'll be introducing Rockabye. This is about movement and dance and just having a great time cooling out with your babies, because as we said, it's a holistic development we're looking at. We also have Ready to Care. Ready to Care is about empowering the families through strategic workshops or sessions. We have now partnered with the library service, where they have family rhyme time on Thursdays, and through that we do a little input with the parents about milestones and language development, communication and language development. There is also Family Circle, and Ms. Cameron will talk more about that, and Book Buzz, and Stay and Play in reception classes. So there's a lot of wonderful and exciting ways that we are streamlining our outputs as the unit, through the Ministry of Education, through the Early Childhood Unit, in ensuring that we not only meet the SPS, but that we meet the needs of families, children and families. So Ms. Cameron will talk about how families can register and what the different programs will entail.
Yes. How much time do I have?
4 minutes, he says.
Okay, so let's talk registration.
Yes.
So Smart Start in the Eastern Districts will cater to children 3 to 4 years old, that age before they enter reception, right? So they will get inputs to enhance their communication and language skills, social and emotional and physical skills, and so on. These are really important as they prepare to enter school. Having said that, there are 3 components to it. We have family circle sessions at the civic centers, and this will be held on a Tuesday and Thursday. Now, and we also have Book Buzz, and a lovely collaboration with the Cayman Islands Public Library Services. This will be held on Wednesdays, and there are particular times, different times for the districts that we'll talk about. But children who are below 3 years of age, they can attend those 2 programs. We're not turning them away because there is no early childhood stimulation there for that age group. So we welcome them. Okay. However, the stay and play in the reception government class is for those children who are 3 going 4 or 4 already, who will be going into reception in August 2023.
And the whole idea of registration and parents and the stakeholders driving that. This is almost the end of January. August will be here in the blink of an eye.
Right. So quickly, we did community walkthroughs over the past 2 weeks, one in North Side and one in Eastern. But we were not able to meet all the parents. So we would like to give parents an opportunity to come out and register your child and speak with us and get to know more about the program and those individuals who will be facilitating the program. So this Saturday, January 21st, we will be at the Edamal Primary School from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And so we invite parents to come out and to register your child and just get to know more about the program. On Sunday, January 22nd, we will be at the East End Primary School from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And we invite parents to come out and register. So if you're not able to make it on a Saturday to, register, there's the opportunity for you to come on a Sunday at Easton. If you're not able to make it at Easton on the Sunday, and you can come on the Saturday on our side, we are there for you. So we're trying to ensure that, for the registration to take place, parents have access. Also, On Tuesday, we will be registering children at East End Civic Center, and that's from 8:30 to say 9:45. We'll be there, and also that same day we will be at the Northside Civic Center at 10:30 to about 11:45. So there are opportunities for families to come and register your child, to get the necessary information, and to just know about the program, and for children to get some input as well. Also, if parents cannot make it, then they can always email registration forms to ecce@gov.ky, or even leave it at the government administration building. Send it with someone. Everyone is welcome to attend. We don't want any families to be turned away if they have the children who will need that support.
Well, let us know how we can not only help with your messaging, but help with engagement and through this level of education instruction and wider community participation. So, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
You guys have not just an excellent rest of the day, but as we continue this school year and the unfolding weeks and months ahead, our children will be, forever engaged and empowered.
Well, thank you
so
much. And thank you for having us today.
It's a pleasure. Well, after the break, you want to know what we want to be talking about? You're going to have to stay tuned. So join us after.
Continuing the Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
Let's read the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Department of Commerce and Investment advises the public that its offices, as well as its counter on the first floor of the Government Administration Building, will be closed on Friday, January 27th at noon to facilitate staff training. A drop box will be placed at the counter for clients to drop off applications. Please note that only checks should be submitted along with the applications. Its offices will resume normal operating hours on Monday, January 30th from 8:30 a.m. and the counter will reopen from 9 a.m. In international news, security checks will be stepped up for air travelers flying from LA to London after a series of recent cannabis smuggling arrests. At least 11 passengers have been charged with attempting to import the drug to the UK in the past 8 days. More than 400 kilograms of the drug has been seized since January 10th. It is legal to grow cannabis in California, but not in the UK. Promotional images for Jeremy Renner's TV show Mayor of Kingstown has been edited to remove injuries from the actor's face after his recent accident. The star was originally shown bloodied and bruised in the artwork for the drama's second season. Co-creator Hugh Dillon said it was good of the network to change it, as a snowplow accident left Renner in a critical condition earlier this month. He revealed on Tuesday he has now left hospital and is recovering at home. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thanks very much for joining us. And as Monday, rolls around, it isn't just another holiday. It's an important holiday. And we almost attempt, there's a song about a holiday, but I won't do that just yet as we talk about it. I asked the last guest, so my good friend Mr. Anderson, could I ask you as well, as we set the stage for National Heroes Day, quick little burp, intro, title, rank, position, soldier.
All right. Good afternoon, residents of the Cayman Islands. My name is Jamal Anderson. I am the acting chief of protocol. Obviously, by extension, I work in the protocol office, which is connected to the cabinet office in the Cayman Islands government.
You know, I thank you for playing along with me as we were talking earlier, right? And I'm going to be mindful because I don't want to necessarily, not just because you had a conversation about education, but we're talking at the school. I love the radio voice. My name is Jamal Anderson. I get when Joel comes back to take that and maybe use that as a drop, you know, for one of our things.
Funny guy.
Yeah. You can do that, man. I've never been one, I think, to like pomp and circumstance. I don't understand why that is. I've been trying to. I always believe it's absolutely imperative to be respectful.
Right.
To respectfully share, to introduce about someone, to say their name as best as you can, get their title, understand how they want and the like. The other stuff I really doesn't really matter to me, only because that's just me now. There's a wonderful lady who, not only because of what she said, was repeated by another lady a number of years later, a number of years her junior, but I thought, wow, these two things are saying the same thing, right? And I said to share that on Monday, we'll assemble, we'll go into town. For those of us who are participating, I think it's 8:15, we should be seated. 9 o'clock we start.
You were doing the plug for me? Is that
yeah, no, thank you. And because I know me, I'm going to be the guy who, as years pass, I'm going to take my shower. I'll probably going to shave. I'll stand somewhere in the distance and observe and feel so wonderfully inspired and grateful for this thing that's unfolding. But don't ask me to don my hat, put on my suit, come on stage and do any of the things, because you can give me my birthday gift by saying, hey bro, happy birthday. You don't need to make but not for everybody else, right? But when you do it right, you guys do it right, and I'm so honored that we're doing it. So tell us about it so that for the others who pay attention more closely can do it right.
All right, so thank you, Dwayne, first of all, for
sorry, Mr. Ebanks.
Apologies.
I'm just teasing you.
Apologies on the radio, Mr. Ebanks.
No, I'm just teasing
you. No, I understand. What Mr. Ebanks is referring to is National Heroes Day, which is scheduled for Monday the 23rd. So that's next Monday. As we all know, it's a public holiday. And in that capacity, I don't want to give away the theme just yet.
Yeah. Sorry, I hope I didn't.
No, you didn't at all.
Okay.
But as always, it's always a time to reflect. As most patrons here and residents are aware, we have a hero square.
Yeah.
And in this vein, National Heroes Day, started, if I go back a bit, in 2003, part of the quincentennial. Hero Square now, across the street from Georgetown Library, adjacent to the now Constitutional Hall, formerly Georgetown.
Town Hall.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Had a slippage of words.
No, thank you, man.
Now we always pay homage to our national heroes. We have 10 in total, and we also take this opportunity to highlight outstanding individuals who have give back to the community. As was done in previous years, the awards are normally predicated into different categories. One is Early Pioneer, second one is Pioneer, and this year, again, don't want to give away too much, we've included a tidbit for Philanthropists, and the fourth one, but I can't drop that just yet. Yeah. So you got to come out and see for yourself.
And I appreciate that, because and I only use me as an example because I know me. I know if I don't like a particular food, it's either A, because I've tried it and go, nope, not going to eat it. Or B, I looked at it and go, I know enough about that not to try that, right? Having said that, one of my brothers long ago got me to try ground dove. Right?
Wow.
Yeah. Seriously. It was in season. It wasn't a problem. He did... It was a shark in a butter lemon sauce. Didn't like it, but he did it.
Okay.
I did the guti long ago. A little too salty. Won't eat it again. But foods are the thing they bring. So in saying that to people,
yes, sir,
we unfortunately do not necessarily know history sufficiently. Don't perhaps respect it enough. Don't promote it. Don't celebrate. So as a intro to the show on Friday.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I'll add to that as well. As Heroes Day, unfortunately, we're all aware due to world circumstances, COVID in particular had slowed down national ceremonies, and the Ministry of Health and by extension HSA did a really good job in limiting public outings. I'm happy to say this is the first time since 2020 we'll be holding a fully fledged National Heroes Day. So what does that mean? Essentially outlines that we will have National Heroes Day, and as Mr. Ebanks related to, I will. My mom and dad are probably listening right now, and if I don't do it, I can see the eyes looking at me right now. So just beg my indulgence.
No, man, listen. That, and I'm gonna want to interrupt you. That is one of the wonderful things about our society. We have that reference, that deference, and I call people Mr. and they'll come like, really? I say my child is here. I need to be example, right? So my dad is the Mr. You just go. You don't have my public permission.
Not a problem, sir. But yes, what we plan to do this year, as I mentioned earlier, it's reopened back to what it was. So 2020 was the last full one. So we'll have a full-fledged ceremony. After which we are encouraging members to also, we have reintroduced the food vendor section. Yes, yeah. So, and that's really important because it's an opportunity to showcase. You highlight culture and history. Food's a big part of that. And it's a common thing. Obviously, we're both smiling, but it's a common thing to get people to come out in some respects. And that's not a bad thing, hospitality is there, to meet and greet, to converse. And there's something nice to be said about being there and present. However, I will say, as also shameless plug, it will be live streamed as well. So for those who can't make it for whatever reason, and sometimes no fault of their own, it will also be available on CIG TV. For this year, in terms of ads and promotions, we've done at least I think, really good job pushing it on the social media. We've utilized various other printed press and also the roadside to highlight National Heroes Day. So our big thing is to encourage to have people come out and to recognize those who have done a really good job in reference to assisting the community. And sometimes I'll say going through this process, some people don't want to be recognized, and that's okay too, because we have those silents amongst us who tend to work in the background. And funny enough, protocol tends to be like that by extension. We, not really at the forefront per se, and that's okay too. But it is an opportunity for the governor today to highlight these particular individuals, some of which who have, rightfully so, accepted the awards. So,
and it's an important thing for us as a country to ensure that the people are recognized. We continue to raise the bar. We respect them. We celebrate and promote them. And then by extension, we encourage the rest of us to take up the mantle. The wonderful song that I'm sure we used to hear, hopefully start hearing more, Where Are Your Heroes, West Indies, right? Or we can point to other societies, some that may no longer be here, other people from other jurisdictions that are rightfully celebrated in there, but we know more about them. What do we know about our own, and how much difference? I had a wonderful opportunity with a good friend. He had a few hours in his schedule, and it was relatively cool weather. And consciously, we walked into town, looked at the different plaques and the different things, and had a conversation. And we say, some of these names are familiar to us because they're so and so's grandfather. Oh, this is a family member. What do we know about them? But not much. And where do we find? Let's Google it. It doesn't show up, right, sufficiently. That's on us, right? So, Mr. Anderson, when we come back, maybe we can talk more about it.
Okay,
You can give us the ask, the expectation of the public. Tell us as much as you want, share as much as you want. I will not, privately nor publicly, ask anything that does not, to accord with what we're trying to promote. And hopefully the public will be able to come out understanding that for the invited guests, there is that seating. For the rest of us, it's first come, first serve.
Right.
So we'll tell you about it. I was paying attention to your notes, man. We're going to pause. When we come back, please rejoin us as we talk about National Heroes Day.
Between the traffic, the meetings, kids' activities, there just isn't enough time. Best Health Pharmacy was a game changer. Not only are they centrally located on Eastern Avenue, but they deliver prescriptions for free anywhere in Georgetown and West Bay. I could not believe it. When my prescription ran out, they ran it back to me. Best Health Pharmacy, located at Crown Square Plaza on Eastern Avenue, across from Edie's Decor, offering free prescription delivery anywhere in Georgetown and West Bay. Call 949-1301 or WhatsApp your prescription to 924-5358. Best Health Pharmacy. Your health, your convenience is their priority.
Freedom, Cayman Rack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
The office's dermatologist, Dr. Dwayne Porter, will be taking appointments from January 12th to the 21st at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email dr.portercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That is 946-9020.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
The MedLab team would like to extend their congratulations to all of the Heroes Day awardees. Thank you for your service.
So Ray, are you ready for another See What I'm Saying?
Okay, Dwayne, so we're back. So I just want to wish everybody a happy new year or a happy, successful revolution around the sun.
What's in store for us this month?
Yeah, Dwayne, the topic this month for See What I'm Saying is Norwegians.
Norwegians? What I gotta do with it, man?
Yeah, Dwayne, believe it or not, some of our founding fathers were Norwegian.
Really?
Believe it or not, our DNA is coming back Scandinavian. So that means Norway and Sweden and places like that.
Norwegian in their blood?
Yeah, Dwayne, Norway's a maritime society like us too, you know. Plus all the connections we have with Norwegian seamen.
First you're talking about Norwegian blood. Now you're saying Norwegian seamen?
Yeah, we have a lot of interaction with Cayman seamen and Norwegian seamen, you know. So join us this Friday for another See What I'm Saying. This time the topic is Norwegian.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon, and I hope Mr. Jamal Anderson would understand or allow me to share not just the love and respect that I have for you and your post, but the wonderful job that you and the team do, you know, over protocol, but the wonderful person that you are, the competence, the commitment to public service. When I look within our country, and particularly in our public service, to see, you know, that dedication, that competence, that willingness to do an exemplary job. Really, if it's okay, please don't be embarrassed. I hope my attempt at trying to be respectful and complimentary is perceived by those listening. I know you will, as genuine as my heart, because we have to continue to raise the bar, and we have to look to our own. For example, I come in to Radio Cayman on sometimes outside the working hours, as it were. We have colleagues who are here because they're here. That's when they're scheduled. But when we look across the the parking lot. Lights are on if it's an evening, or cars in the parking lot for the weekend. People are there.
Yes, sir.
And that motivates me to want to do a better job. And now that we can talk about National Heroes Day, we can celebrate and showcase our people. I'm hoping that if their commitments allow, we'll be assembled in person. If not, we'll watch it through the live stream.
Yes, sir.
And we'll be there cheering and championing our citizenry. I mean, it's just, it fills my heart, man. So thank you, sir.
No. Well, I can't take credit for this. This is what has been agreed to by the government at large. Our role as protocol, in conjunction with the Ministry of Culture, is to go about promoting this event. And in that vein, just to give some information about the event itself.
Yes.
Again, I mentioned it's scheduled for Monday, the 23rd of January, so next Monday. Starts at 9 a.m., but we are asking patrons to be seated by 8:15, just to allow sufficient time. Because as you know, in previous years, and again this year, we will have a contingent. So that's members of various uniform services and junior members as well, parade. So they will essentially march through the square. It's something to behold, it's a lot of work that goes into that as well.
For those of us who may never have come, or who may have come, but consciously, like some of us,
right.
we stand by the town hall, we look onward. But if we want to be a part of it, we go into church, we get dressed a certain way.
That's it.
At least that's expectation, right? Would you share with us what that would look like?
So the dress code we encourage is smart casual. We're not very conscientious that the weather, although we have a cold front right now, at times can be quite hot. So in that respect, yes, it's because I would encourage people to remember that European homage to national heroes, and as such, certain courtesy should be extended to them by extension. And yes, so a little bit more about the ceremony itself. We'll take the opportunity to highlight. I just want to take a moment to point this out. This was done last year by the team, and I have to give credits to all involved last year because the public sentiment was well received last year, where we actually focused a bit on the national heroes themselves, highlighting their accomplishments and what they've done, and recognizing why they were elevated to the highest esteemed role of national hero, which is a very high, that one of the highest awards, if not the highest award that can be bestowed on a citizen of the Cayman Islands. Yeah, but with that said, just to elaborate a little bit more on the event, take place in Hero Square, as I think I mentioned this before. But
no, please repeat.
We will. So the event starts at 9. It will conclude. Don't want to give a particular time just yet. Can't hold me to that. But upon the conclusion of the ceremony, we will be proceeding or encouraging residents to come out to the party village. So the party village is essentially the bus depot, and thankfully the public transportation unit has worked with us, as they do every year, and has graciously allowed us to utilize that space. We will have vendors out there, just like foods and refreshments will be served. We're encouraging people to come out, interact, just talk, and embrace those who have received awards in that respect. And, just the camaraderie, and to be there, just to enjoy the patronage of your fellow citizen is something that we really like to see, we really like to embrace, and we also want to encourage. And also, in particular, we also, I must highlight this, every year, Ministry of Education does an excellent job along with the education department to get kids, and also have to give kudos to parents who allow their kids, by extension, to come out, because there's a flag procession. So it's beautiful. It's the purest form of what I would call just genuine love. I mean, kids are doing this for just passion, and they come out, they wave their flags. It's Cayman strong. The energy, the atmosphere is there. People enjoy it, and it's just something to behold, because you never know. I mean, I look back at pictures. You have fellow colleagues of mine who've been doing this for as I came out to say, donkey years. So it's something that we want to continue that tradition that was left for us by our forefathers, and it's for us now to continue that and to also honor them at the same time. So
that pride and respect that we would have for country and for self.
Yes, sir.
Evident through how we would present ourselves in our dress.
Yes, sir.
Some of our ladies are accustomed to,
yes, sir. Wearing hats. Yes, sir.
And it's interesting. I reference standing in distance, not as a voyeur, it's an admirer to appreciate what you can see.
Yes, sir.
And oftentimes I don't think that we understand the depth of our culture, the value of our history, the contributions of our people. And
Very
maybe, if we did, we wouldn't allow it to be devalued so much. We wouldn't be so dismissive of these opportunities to highlight and showcase. The weather, maybe as cool as it is.
Well, I will say, I'm glad you brought the weather, because weather permitting, and what we normally do is we send out a public service bulletin. In the event there is any form of incremental weather, the ceremony itself is actually switched over to, or it's transitioned over to the First Baptist Church, which is off of Shamrock Road.
I was going to say,
not really good with names of streets.
Always across from the line centers, a safe bet for me.
That works, yes, sir.
I don't know what the road name anymore. Is that Crew Road?
No, my Shamrock. Hopefully we both don't get fined for that now.
I hope not, because, and I apologize, but names of roads, but so-and-so house, but I break for a tree.
Yeah,
it's much easier.
Right
across from the line center.
Right across the street from the coconut tree. Turn and make it right.
Yeah, I'm learning.
No, not. We both are.
Yeah, man.
It's all part of growing. So
it's again another fitting venue, and I'm recognizing that you have a lot of logistics, to coordinate.
There's a lot of background work, and again, it's all part of working behind the scenes. A lot of there's too much name to list, and I don't want to get into the aspects of that. So a lot of background work that goes into this, and it's not to highlight or to promote, but it's just simply to say that jointly and unified, it's where we want to be, and it's what the government of the day feels is necessary to highlight and promote the efforts made by our fellow citizens and residents by extension, who have helped elevate our community in some regard or not. So,
well, Mr. Anderson, I think that this is not only as the start of the year.
Yes, sir. It's the biggest event for the year in terms of national government events. I can't take away from the private sector, so please don't hold me.
No. This is about
but
public.
In terms of national government events, Heroes Day by far, not to take anything away from our other events, such as what will now become, which was formerly known as Queen's Birthday, a Remembrance Day, but National Heroes Day trumps in a lot of respects. And our turnout every year, I have to say, is relatively high. It's well received by the community at large, and I'm hoping that with my encouragement and others, that we can continue to see that carried forward from strength to strength.
Well, I am praying for favorable weather, a wonderful public reception, and as a populace, that we would appreciate what this does for us now. So we thank ourselves, individuals, for attending, respecting what is there, but we use it to continue to uplift our people.
Yes, sir.
And where things can be improved is because we're making a positive contribution. As we close out the discussion, other than assembling at 8:15 for a 9 a.m. start,
yes, sir,
what else would you want to share with our listeners?
I just want to share that a lot of effort has been made. I really want to highlight and to continue to say thank you to all of those who go about doing things for the betterment of our community thanklessly, that aren't looking for praise. And for those who are looking for praise, that's okay too. But this is just an opportunity to say thank you for all the efforts made for the event itself. It's an opportunity to get out, to meet your fellow citizen, to share, and something that's momentous, because being bestowed award on National Heroes Day, it's a big deal. Not something to be taken lightly. And I just want to see everyone out, to come out, encourage, to be there, to be present. Bring out your little ones, bring out the kids, let them understand. I know we talk about being patriotic and, a love for country. And that extends to all, whether that be citizens or residents, by example. Our tourists come and they seem to enjoy Hero Square themselves, and it's very uplifting. I have to say the Georgetown Revitalization Committee has done an excellent job. They've worked in cohesion with us to update the square quite a bit, and it has been improved. The improvements have been well received. And yes, so we want you to encourage all to come out, spend some time. Let's enjoy let's highlight the good work that's been done in our community.
I haven't been out in the evening
Yes, sir.
much beyond the New Year,
Mhm.
but over the Christmas, it was nicely adorned and lit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And oftentimes we see things every day, but we don't look at it.
No, it's exactly, it's taken for granted. I was actually taken aback going by and looking at it, and just there's a sense of awe of all the names that are plastered throughout the place, and the efforts that are made. These are it's timeless a memorial in a lot of respects. Highlighting various members, the women in our community and society and what they've done. Again, we talk about the national heroes and other key individuals who have contributed majorly to the betterment and to the society we currently reside in today. So,
well, to you, the team, all the volunteers, the vendors, everybody, I'm very appreciative of the effort.
Yes, sir.
If we can ever add value of any assistance,
definitely,
we're here, man.
Definitely.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you as well for having me, sir, and to everyone out there listening. I hope you have a lovely day.
Indeed, amen to that. So Monday is a public holiday, National Heroes Day. Let's be a part of the celebration as we look to honoring, members of our society, some of whom have gone on, some of whom are still, persevering and encouraging as they nurture future generations. We've got an interesting discussion in store tomorrow. I keep looking at the calendar and I'm reminded that tomorrow is just Thursday. In my mind, it's probably already Friday. Well, have a wonderful afternoon, as Mr. Anderson say. Have a lovely afternoon. I like how you said that.
Have a wonderful afternoon.
All right. Until then, my friends, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening